this guy for one bad year. I mean, you think about juiced balls. You think about an increase in home run of the magnitude that it was last year. If you're going into last year and you're telling me there's going to be a shitload of homers, the MLB is going to increase by 15% home, whatever it is. Is Chris Davis not someone you're targeting? You bet your sweet bippy, Lenny. Right? You're targeting Chris Davis in a league that has inflated home run numbers. Well, Davis kind of stunk it up last year. 220, 23 homers. But he was battling injuries. And I just don't think that's very indicative of the type of player that Chris Davis is. And as a matter of fact, talk a little bit about man crush teams later, but Oakland has a prolific core. And the tables were set for Davis to have a career year last year. You're talking about a guy who had 133 homers the 3 years prior, averaging 40-plus homers a year. It's funny, I'm sitting here looking at baseball reference. 247 really sticks out when you look at Davis. He's hit 247 4 times in his career. He's a career 244 hitter. The man is about as consistent as it gets. He just had a bad year last year. I'm willing to give Davis the benefit of the doubt and say that he rebounds nicely. Again, he had 48 homers in 2018. He's going to get plenty of protection in that lineup. And he doesn't have to worry about playing the field a whole lot. What's not to like about Chris Davis? And with an ADP of 176, you're looking at a 15th, 16th round player? Boy, we're in a great value, right? He can return quite easily a 7th, 8th, 9th round value at the cost of twice that. I just see, I don't see where that doesn't benefit you taking a chance on Chris Davis. The next guy, Davis is 32, by the way. The next guy, how about Miguel Andujar? Now, Andujar breaks the mold just a touch here. And I say that because he's only 25 years old. But he kind of seems like he's a forgotten about man because of what the Mike Talkmans and the Luke Voits of the world did last year in New York. I'm here to tell you, Andujar is a different type of talent than those guys. If Andujar's healthy, and all signs was that he automatically leapfrogs those guys. The other part about that is he was playing in the outfield in the spring, and now let me take a step back. We all know Andujar is not a great defensive player. Okay? Boyle, Adam Dunn for who? Andujar or I'm guessing Davis. What I like about Miguel Andujar is you're really getting a young player, a prospect, if you will, that's established and has just been kind of thrown to the curb because he got injured. Patellar tendon's no slouch, right? That's a tough injury to overcome. That's fair, Doug. I don't think it's over yet though. That's my point. With Andujar, I'll tell you, his 2019 was absolutely forgettable, right? But what we forget is at 25 years old, as a rookie in 2018, he hit 297. Everyone knows he had some power. That's a 300 hitter, essentially. 297 with 27 homers as a 23-year-old rookie for Miguel Andujar. I love the projection. They want to get this kid in there. I really like Miguel Andujar. At 218, you're looking at what, a 19th round pick, something like that? And then to throw in that they want to play him in left field as well. So he'll be, well, it depends on your format, right? Because he played so little last year, he might or might not be eligible at third base. He will be eligible at third base if we ever freaking play. But having that position flexibility with a guy as talented offensively as Andujar, I think is a great benefit. In a vacuum, 330 and 100 is absolutely a possibility for Andujar. He's still young. I'll tell you, in a lot of dynasty leagues, this is a guy I'd try and go out and get. Because he's kind of that forgotten player. But he still has a tremendous amount of upside. You can get a real value if you can get Miguel Andujar here. Right? And he's one of those guys that gets overlooked in that star-studded lineup. I totally agree. And thank you for agreeing with me, Doug. It was just a bad season. At 218, if you're drafting today at 218, he's an absolute steal. Because he's essentially guaranteed playing time as long as he hits. And that's what he does. I love Andujar. This next guy, admittedly, I started this whole path. Because I feel like he's been underrated. David Peralta is really an underappreciated player, in my opinion. He's 32 years old. Granted, he's had some injury concerns. But he's been pretty consistent when he's been on the field. And you have to give the guy credit. He's really kind of post facto become the leader of that Diamondbacks team. And I mean, again, he's put up some really solid years. He's a career 290 hitter. In 2018, he hit 30 homers and drove in 87 runs. I really like what Peralta has to offer. I've always been a big fan of his. And I think adding depth is going to help him because they're going to be able to rest Peralta and get him the time off that he apparently needs. So, again, you're looking at a guy with Peralta's ADP is 235, so you're talking about a 20th round pick. The thing I like about him is he was slated to hit cleanup in that lineup. That's scary. Because the reason why I think that's scary is he can drive in a boatloads of runs in the middle of that lineup. And you're looking about the Marte brothers. You're looking about, Christian Walker behind him. There's just really a lot of good talent in Arizona to surround him and honestly let him be really effective without having too much of the spotlight put upon him, right? Again, he has battled some injuries. He's only played 140 games 3 times in his career. So having that extra depth will help him. That's why I like Peralta. But when he plays, he will play in the middle of that lineup, which speaks to a lot of runs, which speaks to a lot of RBIs for him. How about his teammate? And it's funny, Arnie and I talked, my buddy Arnie Jones, talked a lot last year about Christian Walker. He's 29 years old. Last year he had, air quotes, a career year at 28. He hit 29 homers, 86 runs, and 73 RBIs while hitting 259. Here's the thing about Walker that maybe the novice fan doesn't understand. Christian Walker is one of those guys that he's big. And he's nothing but a first baseman. So a lot of times these guys don't profile as these big prospects. And they get typecast into a specific role. I feel like that's what's happened with Walker. Because if you look back at his minor league statistics, dude raked. I mean, hitting's never been his problem. But he doesn't have that appearance of a blue chip, super elite athlete. He's a hitter, right? So, again, 29 homers, 86 runs, 73 RBIs. The 259 is the important number for me, personally. And I say that because 259 is a respectable average. Anything over 250, I'm happy with. If you hit 30 homers and you hit 260, I'll take that all day. In the 18th round, ADP 202. But if that average drops, it could change things. So, for me, I'm one of those guys that happens to believe in, 1, him being in a good situation. 2, there's not a whole lot of pressure on him because there's a shit ton of leadership in the Diamondbacks clubhouse. Ketel Marte, Starling Marte, David Peralta, Madison Bumgarner. There's a lot of veteran leadership there. But the 202 ADP, the fact that he's only done it once, look, he could turn out to be Jesus Aguilar. It absolutely could happen. I don't think it does, though. Because the other thing I like about Walker is he has a fire lit under him. CJ Cron's brother, Kevin Cron, is right behind him in AAA and quite honestly quite capable. So he's motivated. He's fighting for his job still. But the D-backs really like him. And they played him last year when maybe they should have given Cron a chance. So that speaks volumes to their loyalty to him.